Hey YouTube, making this video because a bunch of people were bothering me to respond to some blog by some retard by the name of Stacy Trazankos. The name of the blog is Accepting Abundance, which to me sounds like the title of a pornographic feature. Accepting an abundance of cock! And the tagline of the blog is, what a scientist turned homemaker and joyful convert to Catholicism is learning about faith, reason, order, infinity, and life. Okay, so let's find out what she's learning about faith, reason, order, infinity, and life. This is a blog entry. It's from Friday, August 26th, 2011. It's called Can't Even Go to the Park. Alright. The same people who say I shouldn't impose my morality on them are imposing immorality on me and my children, to the point I literally have a hard time even leaving my home anymore to do something as simple as visit the park. And this is freedom? Okay, so the opening paragraph is alleging that someone who will not allow her to impose her morality on them is imposing immorality on her. Now, first of all, I want to know how these fucking terms are being defined, because what I'm picking up here is that my morals are morals and your morals are not morals; they're immoral. You know, so basically, we're already at kind of like a starting point of I'm right and you're wrong because I'm right and you're wrong. But let's find out what she's talking about. I am a Catholic stay-at-home mother of 7. You know, the population of the world is it 7 billion right now? We're actually going to have our 7 billionth person born in just a few days. So could you stop having like 7 fucking kids? There's really no need. This isn't like this isn't like 1708 where you know, the infant mortality rate is like you know, I don't know, 50 to 70%. I mean, you know, chances are most of your kids, all your kids, are going to survive to adulthood. You don't need 7 anymore. I know the Bible says that you need to have a bunch, but you don't. You just don't. It's stupid. And it's a strain on the planet. But hey, whatever. Freedom of choice, blah, blah, blah. I live in the state of Massachusetts where gay marriage, in quotations, has been legal for 7 years, and it's just one aspect of the larger secular agenda. Because we have so many little children, it takes a phenomenal effort to go anywhere. We have only filled our truck with gasoline twice this entire summer vacation. We go to Mass, and we go 2 miles up the road to a small outdoor swimming pool. That's pretty much it. What about the grocery store? Don't you have to get groceries? Seems like you'd have to make a stop there to feed your fucking kids. I mean, unless they're giving out food at Mass. But alright. Mass and the swimming pool. Fine. At the pool this summer, there were homosexual couples with children, and while I was polite as my own young daughters doted on the baby with 2 mommies, I also held my breath in anticipation of awkward questions. Questions I'm not ready to answer. My young daughters are all under the age of 8, and they are not old enough to understand why a baby would have 2 women calling themselves mommies. Okay. Just take a little swig of my drink here. Your kids are not old enough to understand why a baby would have 2 mommies. I think your kids would understand just fine. I'm pretty sure the problem isn't with your kids, it's with you. Because all you gotta do is tell your fucking kids, oh, some people have 2 mommies. Some people have 2 daddies. Some people have a mommy and a daddy like you do. And your kids would say, oh, I understand. End of fucking discussion. When there were 2 men relaxing on the side of the pool unnaturally close to each other, effeminately rubbing elbows and exchanging doe eyes. I was anxiously watching my children, hoping they wouldn't ask questions. They don't see Daddy doing that with anyone but Mommy. We haven't been back to the pool for a couple of weeks, except once, but it rained. The truth is, now I really don't want to go back. Okay, so the kids see the two guys getting all close and cozy and shit by the pool, and, like, your kids just aren't ready for that. And yet you fucking teach them stories from a book. I mean, like, I'm assuming your kids know the story of, like, Noah's Ark and shit, right? I mean, they know that God killed everyone in the world except for, like, 2 of every animal and this one guy and his family. Like, God drowned everyone else. Every animal and every person, including, like, the little babies in their fucking cribs, you know, people screaming and drowning and dying. You feel like your kids can understand that, and you feel like they can understand, you know, Adam and Eve naked in the garden, and, you know, Cain smashing Abel's fucking brains out, and, you know, God destroying, like, Sodom and Gomorrah, and God calling, you know, tearing down the walls of Jericho, and like, sending bears to eat children, and, you know, all the crazy shit that God gets up to. Oh, and not to mention the fact that, like, the person you worship is, like, this brutalized, half-naked, dead man nailed to 2 pieces of wood, which is probably, like, the most macabre religious symbol, you know, in existence in any sort of mainstream religion. You feel like they can understand all that. That's, like, good moral teachings, but, like, 2 guys behaving effeminately, in your terms, that's just gonna blow their little fucking minds. Give me a fucking break. So what am I harping about? Yeah, what are you harping about? Today, we decided to go to the park. We live near a nice park that is safe, clean, and quiet. 2 of my daughters were in the sandbox, one on the slide, the other on the swings. And as I lifted the baby out of his stroller, I looked up to see 4 women laughing as a baby boy as he was swinging in one of the bucket swings. That seems harmless enough, but I'm so sensitized to the strangeness in my community that I've developed this ever-present jumpiness whenever I'm in public. Sure enough, 2 of the women, so happy to see the baby boy laughing, embraced and remained standing there rubbing each other's backs in a way that was clearly not just friendly affection. The horror. The sheer shock and horror. Okay, so... Alright, so you're out there, and, you take your kids to the park, and then there's, like, this little boy swinging on a swing set, and, you know, his moms, you know, are so happy, and they fucking hug each other, and they do a little back rub, and you realize, oh shit, they're lesbians, and like, this, you feel like your entire body tense up, and, you know, and you're shocked and horrified and aghast that, you know, someone would dare to live any other way than, you know, the way prescribed by you and your ilk. That's what's called being a bitch. That's all that is. It's not their fault that you felt that way. It's your fault that you feel that way. You understand what I'm saying? It's like if I go out and, like, let me see, what's something I don't like? I don't like most things, really. I go out, I see some rednecks fucking sitting around drinking beers or whatever, and, oh man, I'll fucking kick his ass, you know. I see that, and I automatically, I'm like, oh, Jesus. We have to do something about this redneck situation. We just gotta get rid of them. We should make them dress a certain way in public. I mean, I don't know, it's just silly. Like, hey, we're society. People have freedom. They can do whatever the fuck they want. You know, we're not always going to like what other people do. You don't like gay people because you're a bigot. That's fine. We're all bigoted in some way. There's a lot of people I don't like in society. I don't fucking sit around thinking of ways that I can, get them to stop. I realize that, hey, it's not their fault that I don't approve of them. It's my fault. It's on me. It's all on me. And hey, chances are, there's people who look at me and say, oh, I don't like that guy. And you know what? I'm glad that they can't stop me from being me. So by proxy, I'm glad that I can't stop people who I don't like from being themselves. This is my community. No, it's everyone's community. Not your community, everyone's. I find myself unable to leave the house anymore without worrying about what incarnation we are going to encounter. We are responsible citizens. We live by the rules. We pay our taxes. We take care of things. I'm supposed to be I'm supposed to be able to influence what goes on in my community. And as a voter, I do exercise that right, but I'm outnumbered. You're outnumbered by the community! Don't you realize that the people who make up the majority that are outvoting you and outgunning you are the community that you claim that is just you and should just reflect your values? I can't even go to normal places without having to sit silently and tolerate immorality. Shut the fuck up, you miserable cunt. Why don't you just fucking... Hey, look, come on down south, okay? You won't see that shit down here. Just move out of fucking Massachusetts, come to Mississippi. Fucking, you'll never see it again. Done. And you won't even have to pay taxes, because, you won't have any infrastructure or support, safety, social safety net at all, but you won't have to pay taxes either. We all know what would happen if I asked 2 men or 2 women to stop displaying right in front of me and my children that they live in sodomy. What would happen is they call you a bitch because you are, in fact, a bitch. It'd be like someone how would you like it if someone walked up to you and said, hey, I noticed that cross. I don't like that. Can you hide that cross? That offends me because I'm an atheist. Do you feel like I'd be justified in doing that? Would you think I was an asshole? You'd be right. I would be an asshole if I walked up to you and tried to get you to do that. And just like you'd be a bitch if you tried to fucking stop gay people from displaying whatever they want to display in public, in full view of your stupid fucking children. Our taxes are being used to fund contraception, abortion, and IVF already. That offends me in ways that are inexpressible. I notice that you don't seem to mention that your taxes also fund, gigantic wars where, millions of people have died, or at least hundreds of thousands. That doesn't bother you as much. I read last December in the Wall Street Journal how 2 men near us are raising 2 assembled daughters after announcing to the world how they killed 2 other siblings and surrogate mothers in India. Let me guess, I shouldn't offend them though, right? And what's next at the park? A needle exchange drop box for heroin users? No joke. These things are not isolated. It's all the same issue at a fundamental level. We're being pushed to accept immorality, and it's not just on TV and in Washington, D.C. It's right in front of us, too. I don't know if you know this. I'm gonna let you in on a little secret about morality. Morality is subjective. Yes, I know that you have a God who has, given you this concrete morality. But if you really think about it, you don't follow all the stuff in the Bible, because no Christian does. A lot of it's just outdated. Most people ignore a good, decent chunk of it. For instance, if you did follow the Bible, if you really believed in the book, then when you saw those 2 guys being effeminate with one another, you'd have fucking stoned them to death, because that is the punishment prescribed for homosexuals. So if you were truly following God's word, that's what you would have done, not just made a little blog entry about it. So even your morality, even though you think of it as being objective, is, kind of flexible, kind of negotiable. But the thing is that morality is subjective. And even though you think your God can give you an objective morality, he can't, because he doesn't exist. And even if he does exist, you don't know what he wants, because you're but one religion of many, each one with very different ideas about what God is, what he wants, what he expects, etc., etc., etc. Alright, so we fund a lot of illegal immigrants here, just to ask the president about his oh Jesus. And helping people who really need to help is not something I'd ever oppose, but it's still haunting me that just this week I learned of an illegal immigrant who killed a young man innocently out for a ride on his motorcycle. The illegal immigrant, who didn't have a license, was so drunk he didn't notice when he hit the motorcycle and dragged the 23-year-old college graduate a quarter of a mile while people were yelling at him to stop. When he finally did, the young man was still alive until the drunk driver put the car in reverse and backed up over him before driving away. He's charged with vehicular homicide and reckless conduct, creating a risk to a child. He had a 6-year-old in the car with him. Well, goddamn! If he was charged, what the fuck is the problem? I was reading this and I was expecting it to end with and because he was an illegal immigrant, he just got deported back to Mexico, or and because he was an illegal immigrant, they let him go, or something, some ridiculous claim like that. But if he was charged with vehicular homicide and reckless conduct created to risking a child or whatever, then what the fuck is your complaint? Did you think that, because he was an illegal immigrant, that's why he did that? You think that, there's no, legal citizens of the United States who drunk drive and hit people? Because, spoiler alert, there are. Do you think knowing this happened about 7 miles from my home makes me afraid to leave the house? You bet it does. But that just adds to everything else I'm being asked to tolerate. Seriously, is this freedom? Yes. Yes, it is. I don't know how you can even... how do you feel it's not freedom? Do you feel like homosexuals with their public displays of affection are somehow mandating that you can't leave your house? They're somehow making it impossible. You cannot go anywhere. You cannot bring your children. You just flat out cannot happen. Because they passed some law or something? No, it's your choice. You choose not to do things because of the risk that your children might be exposed to a little bit too much reality. You're an idiot. And I don't know why so many people needed me to point it out, but I got 50 letters telling me I needed to make this video about you, so you're an idiot. Fuck you. And I hope your children grow up to be gay. And hey, with 7 kids, there's a good chance at least one of them will.